I woke at 3:45 that February morning to snow tapping my bedroom window. The furnace clicked on, steady as always. Been sleeping in the guest room for 2 weeks, nothing dramatic, just one of those stretches married folks have after 40-some years. I made coffee in the dark, watched my old Chevy disappear under white through the frost on the kitchen window. Then my phone buzzed. 4 a.m. A text from Linda. Relax, I'll explain. I stared at it like it was written in Chinese. 17 minutes later, headlights swept across the snow, pounding on my front door, hard, desperate. I opened it, and there she was, nightgown under her winter coat, mascara running black down her face, couldn't catch her breath. I'm sorry, she sobbed. Tom said it was just paperwork. Your name would still... I didn't know. She collapsed on my porch, and I knew right then, whatever was broken couldn't be fixed with coffee and silence anymore. I got her inside, wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. She was shaking like a leaf, and not from the cold. Her hands wouldn't hold the coffee mug I pressed into them, so I set it on the table. We ended up in the kitchen, same table where we'd had 42 years of breakfasts. The formica was worn smooth in spots, sticky where she'd spilled syrup back in '94, and it never quite came clean. I sat across from her and waited. Walt, she finally said, voice all hiccups and sobs, we need to talk about the house. My stomach dropped. The house. My daddy's house. What about it? She couldn't look at me, just stared at her hands, twisting a tissue into shreds. Tom came to me last summer, said we needed to do some financial planning. Financial planning? I said it flat. He said we needed to protect the house. From nursing home costs. If you got sick, he said the state could take it. I'd heard about that, Medicaid asset seizure, they call it. But I'd also heard it wasn't as simple as Tom made it sound. So what did you do? He brought papers, said it was routine estate planning, a power of attorney, in case you got sick and couldn't make decisions. In case I got sick. For medical stuff, Walt. That's what he said. She finally looked up, mascara smeared, eyes pleading. I thought I was helping. I felt something cold settle in my chest. What else? He came by a few more times, brought more papers, quitclaim deed, he called it, said it would transfer the house to a trust or something, for protection. You signed it. He said you'd be upset if I asked you first, said it was better to handle it quietly than explain after. The tissue in her hands was confetti now. Said nothing would change. You'd still live here, still be your house, just protected. The coffee in front of me had gone cold. I hadn't touched it. When was this? Over the last few months. I don't know exactly. He'd just stop by, we'd have coffee, he'd show me where to sign. And yesterday, her face crumpled. He filed the papers, at the county clerk, 5 o'clock yesterday. There it was, the thing that couldn't be undone with talk. Then last night, she whispered, 3:30 this morning, he called me, drunk, laughing. She swallowed hard. He said, I finally secured the property. Keep the old man calm until it clears. Then he laughed again and hung up. I sat there, hands flat on the table. 42 years of marriage, and I didn't know the woman across from me. You gave him my house. I thought I was protecting us. You didn't ask me. He said you wouldn't understand the legal stuff, so you just signed whatever he put in front of you. She started crying again, hard, shoulders shaking. Part of me wanted to comfort her, the other part wanted to walk out and not come back. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry, Walt. I'll fix it. I'll call Tom, make him reverse it. Can you reverse something that's already filed? She didn't answer. Linda. I waited until she looked at me. What papers did you sign? Exactly. I don't know, 3, maybe 4 different things. The power of attorney for sure. The quitclaim deed. Some LLC registration thing. She trailed off. He explained what they were for, but I just trusted him. I thought about Tom. Our daughter Sarah's husband for 15 years now, always smooth, always had an angle, always talking about opportunities and strategies. I never liked him much, but I kept my mouth shut, for Sarah's sake. Guess I should have spoken up. We'll go to the county clerk first thing, Linda said, grasping for hope. We'll explain it was a mistake. They'll have to fix it, right? I watched her hands still shaking. Wouldn't stop even now. Noticed she couldn't meet my eyes for more than a second. Linda, when did you sign that power of attorney? The first one? She hesitated. I'm not sure. Summer sometime? What month? July, maybe? Early July? 7 months ago. Not last week. Not last month. 7 months. This wasn't some recent mistake. This was planned. Go lie down, I said. You look like hell. She stood, uncertain. Walt, we'll fix this, I promise. Just go lie down. After she left, I sat alone at that kitchen table, listening to the furnace hum and the snow tap the windows. The house was quiet. Too quiet. And I wondered how many other lies were buried in that silence. I tried to sleep. Couldn't. Kept seeing Linda's hands shaking, hearing Tom's drunk voice on the phone. Keep the old man calm. 5:30, I gave up and went to my daddy's old desk. Roll-top cherry wood, sat in his study for 40 years before he passed. I'd kept it the same way he left it. Tax papers, insurance documents, the deed he'd handed me in 1982. I started pulling folders, looking for anything that might tell me what I was really dealing with. Found it in a folder labeled Medical Documents. Power of Attorney, Linda's signature, neat and careful, dated July 15th, 7 months ago, just like she'd said. But the language stopped me cold. For medical decisions only, including but not limited to healthcare choices, end-of-life directives, and medical facility selection. Medical decisions only, not property, not finances, not the house. I sat there staring at that paper while pieces started clicking together. Last summer, July, Linda had been distracted, quiet. I'd asked her a few times if everything was okay, and she'd said she was fine, just tired. August, Tom started coming around more. Just checking on you guys, he'd say. Always when I was out. At the hardware store, getting the truck's oil changed, playing cards at Eddie's. September, Linda seemed worse, jumpy, wouldn't look at me straight. I'd thought we were just going through a rough patch. Happens after 40-some years. Turns out she was lying to me for 7 months straight. I put the paper back, closed the desk drawer. My hands were shaking now, too. Dawn broke slow and gray. I made coffee, stood at the kitchen window watching the world wake up. Hank's truck was already out, blade down, plowing my driveway same as he'd done for the past 5 years. Ever since his wife Eileen passed from cancer. Never asked for a thing, just showed up after every snow and cleared a path. That's what neighbors do, what real people do. I watched him make his passes, steady and methodical. Thought about how he'd probably seen Tom's car here all those late nights. Wondered if he'd thought anything of it. Linda appeared in the doorway, wrapped in her bathrobe. Did you sleep? Some. I didn't turn around. We can go to the clerk's office at 9. I'll come with you. We'll explain. I'm going alone. Walt, I'm going alone, Linda. She didn't argue, just retreated back to the couch where she'd spent what was left of the night. I went to the desk one more time, opened the bottom drawer where I kept my daddy's pocket watch. He'd given it to me the day he handed over the deed, 6 months before he died. The inscription inside was simple. For Walt, from Dad, 1982. I remembered his hands, rough and calloused from 40 years of factory work, pressing that deed into my palm. Keep it in the family, son. This land's all I got to leave you. I'd kept my word for 40 years, paid it off early, maintained it, never missed a tax payment. Now Tom had taken it in 7 months of paperwork and Linda's signatures. I pocketed the watch and grabbed my truck keys. The drive to town was slow, roads were slick from the overnight snow, and the plows hadn't hit the side streets yet. I passed the church, the diner, the hardware store where I'd bought supplies for 30 years. Small town, same faces, same places. Used to be I knew everybody. Now I wondered who else knew what Tom had done before I did. Probably the whole damn town. The courthouse sat on Main Street, gray stone building from the 1890s. Donna Marsh's car was already in the lot. She was always early. Worked the county clerk's office for 20-something years. Went to high school with Linda, back when they were both young and the world made sense. I parked and sat there a minute, gripping the steering wheel. My knuckles were white. Once I saw those papers, there'd be no going back to not knowing. No more pretending it might be a misunderstanding. No more hoping Linda had gotten it wrong. The truth was waiting for me in that courthouse. Filed, unofficial, and probably irreversible. I took a deep breath, got out, and walked toward the entrance. The marble steps were slick with ice. I took them careful, one at a time. No sense breaking a hip over this mess. Inside, the building smelled like old wood and floor wax. My boots squeaked on the tile. Donna looked up when I walked in. Her face changed, sympathy mixed with something else. Pity, maybe. Morning, Walt, she said quiet. Wasn't expecting you. Need to see some papers that got filed yesterday. My property. Her expression told me she already knew. Whole town probably knew. I figured you'd be coming in. She stood and went to the filing cabinet. Walt, I'm not supposed to say this, but you need to get a lawyer. Donna pulled a manila folder from the cabinet and slid it across the counter. Her hand stayed on it for a second like she didn't want to let go. Everything that got filed is in here, she said. I opened it. First page, quitclaim deed. Legal language I could barely follow. But the important parts jumped out clear enough. Property transferred from Walter James Garrison to Bridger Holdings, LLC. Linda's signature at the bottom, neat as always. Tom's notary seal right next to it. Filed February 9th, 5:07 p.m. yesterday. My vision blurred for a second. Had to steady myself on the counter. Walt? Donna's voice was soft. You okay? Yeah. I wasn't. Second page, the power of attorney I'd found this morning, dated July 15th, medical decisions only, said so right there in black and white. Donna, this power of attorney, it says medical decisions. I know. So how'd he use it to transfer property? She glanced around like someone might be listening, then leaned in. That's what I mean about the lawyer, Walt. That don't look right to me. POA's got to match what it's used for. Medical's medical. Property's property. But it's already filed. It is. And once it's filed, it takes a court order to undo it. Or both parties agreeing? I looked at the third page. LLC registration. Bridger Holdings, LLC, registered in Indiana. Owner and operator. Thomas Bridger. No mention of Linda. No mention of me. Just Tom. He made a whole company, I said, to steal my house. Donna didn't disagree. Fourth page was the notary certification. Tom's signature, his seal, his license number, all official and legal looking. He's a notary, I said. I know. Been certified for 8 years. That's how he legitimized all this. Donna pulled out a ledger. Walt, Tom's been here 3 times since January, asking questions about quitclaim deeds, LLC transfers, how to process power of attorney documents. What did you tell him? I told him what the law says. I answer questions all day. I don't know what people are planning. She looked miserable. If I'd known he was setting you up, not your fault. But it stung, knowing Tom had been here, planning every detail, making sure it was airtight, while I was home watching snow and drinking coffee, thinking everything was fine. Can I ask you something? I said. Sure. Did Tom ask if a transfer like this could be stopped once it was filed? Donna's face went tight. He did, last week. What did you tell him? I told him no, not without a court order or both parties signing reversal papers. She paused. He smiled when I said that, like that's exactly what he wanted to hear. I stood there holding that folder, feeling the weight of it. My house, my daddy's house, gone on paper, stolen legal with stamps and signatures and filing numbers. Donna, you got any idea who could help me? A lawyer? She wrote something on a slip of paper, slid it across. Ed Kowalski, real estate attorney, been practicing here 30 years. He'll shoot straight with you, Walt. If it's fixable, he'll tell you. If it's not, she trailed off. Thanks. I started to leave, then turned back. One more thing. When did Tom first come in asking about this stuff? She checked her ledger again. First inquiry was August 12th. He was asking general questions about quitclaim deeds. August, right after the July power of attorney. He came back in November, she continued, asking about LLC property transfers, then December, asking about scope of power of attorney, what it could and couldn't cover. He did his homework. He did. Donna looked at me with something like anger in her eyes. Tom Bridger came in here professional and polite, with all his papers organized perfect, and I processed them like I process everything else. I didn't know, Walt. I swear I didn't know what he was doing. I believe you. Get to Ed today, she said. Don't wait. I folded the paper with Ed's name into my coat pocket, next to my daddy's watch. Stood there looking at Donna, this woman who'd known Linda since they were 17, who'd probably been at our wedding. Whole town's gonna know about this, ain't they? Probably already do, she said quiet. Small towns don't keep secrets long. I nodded and walked out. The marble steps seemed steeper going down. The cold hit harder. And my truck looked older and smaller in the courthouse parking lot, surrounded by newer cars with payments and leases. I sat behind the wheel and stared at that slip of paper, Ed Kowalski. Maybe he could help, maybe not, but at least now I knew what I was up against. 7 months of planning, 3 visits to the courthouse, every loophole researched, every question answered. Tom had built this trap careful and slow, and I'd walked right into it, one signature at a time. I drove past my house, saw Linda looking out the window, waiting. Couldn't go in yet, needed to think first. I pulled into Hank's driveway instead. He was in his garage, organizing tools on pegboard hooks. Same thing he did every Saturday, snow or shine. Order and routine, that's how Hank lived his life. Always had, probably always would. He heard my truck, looked up, saw my face, and set down the wrench he was holding. "Morning, Walt. Coffee?" "Nah, just need to ask you something." We stood in his garage, breath fogging in the cold. His space heater rattled in the corner, not doing much good. The smell of motor oil and sawdust hung in the air. "You ever see Tom's car at my place?" I asked. "When I wasn't home?" Hank's expression shifted. He didn't answer right away, and that told me everything. "Why you asking?" I gave him the short version, Linda signing papers, Tom filing documents at the courthouse, my house transferred to some LLC with Tom's name on it. Hank listened without interrupting, jaw tight. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "Yeah," he finally said. "I seen him." "How many times?" "More than a few. Started last summer, maybe July." He moved to his workbench, leaned against it, figured it was family business, didn't want to pry. "When would he come?" "Late. 10, 11 at night, sometimes later." Hank looked uncomfortable. I'd see his headlights from my upstairs window. That fancy Audi of his, can't miss it. He'd park in your driveway, stay 30, 45 minutes, then leave. My hands curled into fists. "You remember any specific dates?" "Hell, I don't know exact dates, but..." He thought about it. "I seen him twice in July. That I remember. Few times in September. Then more in January, maybe 3 times just this month." Every date lined up. July when Linda signed the POA, September when she started acting worse, January when Tom was at the courthouse asking Donna his questions. "He always came when you were out," Hank added, "like he was waiting for your truck to be gone." "You should have said something." "I know." Hank's face hardened. "Been kicking myself about that since you pulled up. But, Walt, you don't know how many times I've sat up there thinking I should come over, knock on your door, tell you something felt wrong." He shook his head. "But it wasn't my marriage, wasn't my business." I understood that. Small-town code. You don't meddle in a man's marriage. You don't stick your nose where it don't belong. But sometimes that code costs you. "Is there anything I can do now?" Hank asked. "Anything at all?" "Already did it. You told me the truth." I started toward my truck. "That's more than most would do." "Walt," he stopped me. "I got something else. Come inside a minute." I followed him into his house. Hadn't been inside since Eileen's funeral 5 years back. Still smelled like her, lavender and vanilla, from those candles she used to burn. Some smells don't leave, I guess. Hank went upstairs, came back with a manila envelope. After the second time I saw Tom sneaking around, I started documenting. He handed it to me. "Old habits. Mail carrier for 35 years. You learn to notice patterns. Keep records." I opened the envelope. Photos. 8 of them printed on regular paper. Tom's Audi in my driveway. Different dates, different times, all at night. Hank had written the dates and times on the back of each one in neat handwriting. July 18th, 11:47 p.m. September 3rd, 10:22 p.m. September 15th, 11:03 p.m. The January ones, January 8th, 10:38 p.m. January 14th, 11:12 p.m. January 22nd, 10:55 p.m. One photo was zoomed in, looked like Hank had used some kind of scope. Through Tom's windshield, clear as day, a stack of papers in the passenger seat. Legal documents, from what I could make out. "Used my old hunting scope," Hank said. "Got a decent zoom on it." I stared at those photos. Hard evidence, timestamps, proof Tom had been sneaking around for months. "Why didn't you show me these before?" Hank's face went pained. "Because I'm a coward, Walt. Because I didn't want to cause trouble. Because I thought maybe I was seeing things that weren't there." He sat down heavy in his recliner. "You know about Eileen's brother?" "No." "He came around when she was sick, said he'd help with medical bills, manage her accounts while she couldn't." Hank's voice went rough. "He stole $40,000, forged her signature, cleaned out her savings account. By the time I figured it out, he was gone. Money was gone. Eileen died, never knowing." I didn't know what to say. I knew something was off, Hank continued. Saw him coming around too much, being too helpful, but I didn't want to believe family would do that. Didn't want to accuse him without proof. He looked at me, then she was gone, and I had all the proof in the world, but it was too late. Jesus, Hank. So when I started seeing Tom sneaking around, I told myself I wasn't going to make that mistake again. Started taking photos, started documenting. He gestured at the envelope. But I still didn't say nothing. Still kept my mouth shut because maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was innocent. It wasn't. No, it wasn't. Hank stood, pulled a business card from his wallet. This is my buddy, Ed Kowalski, real estate lawyer. You take those photos, you take that card, and you go see him. The same name Donna had given me. Is he good? He's a straight shooter, Walt. He'll tell you if you got a case or if you're screwed. Either way, you'll know. I looked at the photos again. Tom's Audi, those dates, the documents visible through the windshield. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me. Should have said something months ago. Hank walked me to the door. You go see Ed today. And Walt, you let me know if there's anything else I can do. Anything at all. I nodded and left, photos and business card in hand. Linda was waiting when I got home. Jumped up from the couch the second I walked in. What did you find out? I set the envelope on the kitchen table. Didn't answer. Walt, talk to me. What did Donna say? She said, get a lawyer. Linda's face crumpled. So it's really bad? You tell me, Linda. How bad is it? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. You signed a power of attorney in July. She froze. July 15th, 7 months ago. You remember that? Tom said it was for medical. It says medical decisions only right on the paper. So how'd Tom use it to transfer property? I don't know. You don't know. I pulled out one of Hank's photos. Tom's car in our driveway, date and time stamped. Tom's been coming here at night when I wasn't home. You remember that? Her face went white. July, September. 3 times this month alone. I spread the photos on the table. He'd show up late, stay 45 minutes, leave. What were you two doing, Linda? He was bringing papers, she whispered. Just papers. Estate planning papers. He'd explain what they were for. I'd sign them. He'd leave. How many papers? I don't know, Walt. 3, 4, maybe more. I didn't keep count. You didn't keep count. I laughed, but there wasn't any humor in it. You signed away my house, and you didn't even keep count. He said it was to protect us. She was crying now. He said if you got sick, if you needed nursing care, the state would take the house. He said this was the smart thing to do, and I trusted him. Why didn't you ask me? Because he said you wouldn't understand. He said the legal language would confuse you, that you'd get upset and refuse, and then we'd lose everything anyway. I stared at her. 42 years. I'd loved this woman for 42 years. Married her when we were both 23 and the world was new, raised Sarah together, buried my parents together, fixed this house together, payment by payment, and she'd given it all to Tom without asking me once. You didn't trust me, I said quiet. I did trust you. No, you trusted Tom more than you trusted me. She had no answer for that. My phone rang, Sarah's name on the screen. I almost didn't answer, then figured I might as well get all the bad news at once. Yeah? Dad, I'm driving up tomorrow. Sarah's voice was strained. We need to talk about the house situation. What did Tom tell you? He said you and Mom are doing some estate planning, but you're confused about the paperwork. He said Mom's trying to explain it, but you're upset. There it was, Tom's version. Walt the confused old man, too senile to understand basic documents. I ain't confused, Sarah. Dad, Tom said, Tom stole my house. Silence on the other end. He manipulated your mother into signing papers. Filed them at the courthouse yesterday. My house is in his name now, through some LLC he set up. Dad, that doesn't... Tom wouldn't... Ask him yourself when you get here. Better yet, ask him why he's been sneaking over here at night for the past 7 months. I'm sure there's an explanation. I'm sure there is. And I'm sure it'll be real smooth and convincing. That's what Tom does. I could hear her breathing, thinking. I'll be there tomorrow afternoon, she finally said. We'll figure this out. Yeah, we will. I hung up before she could say anything else. Linda was staring at me. What did you tell her? The truth. Something you should have tried. Walt, please. Tom called her already, didn't he? Got his story in first. Made sure Sarah thinks I'm the problem. Linda didn't deny it. He's coming here tomorrow, isn't he? For some kind of family meeting? He said we need to discuss next steps. Make everything official and proper. I laughed again. Same bitter sound. Official and proper. My house is already stolen, but Tom wants to make it official. I grabbed my coat, headed for the garage. Where are you going? Out. Walt, don't leave like this. But I was already gone. The next afternoon, the snow came back. Not gentle this time. Hard, wind-driven, the kind that makes roads disappear. Sarah's car pulled in around 3. Took her 6 hours from Chicago. Should have been 4. She looked exhausted when she came through the door, hugging herself against the cold. Hey, Dad. Roads bad? Terrible. She pulled out her phone, checked something, typed a response. Is Mom here? Kitchen. Linda rushed out, wrapped Sarah in a hug, started fussing over her immediately. Was she hungry? Did she need coffee? Was she warm enough? I stood back, watching. Sarah kept checking her phone, typing. Not really here, even though she was standing in my living room. Sarah, can we talk? I asked. Just you and me? She glanced at her phone again. Dad, let's wait for Tom. Wait. He's better at explaining the legal stuff. I don't need Tom to explain. Her phone buzzed. She read it, typed back. Who you texting? Just people. But I knew. Tom was feeding her lines, telling her what to say, keeping her on his side. Tom should be here soon, Sarah said, still not looking at me. He got held up, but he's on his way. Linda brought coffee. We sat in the living room, awkward and silent, except for Sarah's phone clicking. The snow kept falling outside, piling up on the driveway Hank had cleared yesterday, burying everything. 4 o'clock, headlights through the storm. Tom's Audi, shiny and new, gliding through snow like it owned the world. He came in all smiles and confidence, brushing snow off his shoulders. Walt, good to see you, man. Like we were buddies, like he hadn't stolen my house. He didn't wait for me to respond, just headed straight to the living room, set his briefcase on my coffee table, started pulling out papers. Okay, let's get everybody on the same page here. We sat like it was a business meeting, Tom standing, the rest of us on the couch and chairs, in my own house. So here's what we've accomplished. Tom started, voice smooth as oil. We've created an asset protection strategy for your estate. What this does is shield the house from Medicaid estate recovery. If Walt needs long-term care down the road, the state can't touch it. He used words like LLC structure and generational wealth transfer and Medicaid exemption, fancy language that meant nothing and everything at the same time. The house is now held in a limited liability company, Tom continued. This provides legal separation between personal assets and real estate holdings. Very standard practice. I tried to speak. Tom, that house is I know it's a lot to process, Walt, but trust me, this is exactly what you need. He didn't even pause, just kept rolling through his presentation like a salesman who'd memorized his pitch. Sarah sat there staring at her phone. Linda cried quietly, and Tom kept talking. Now, Linda made the smart call here, getting ahead of this, because once you need care, it's too late to protect assets. Medicaid has a 5-year look-back period, so we're starting the clock now. Tom, I tried again. You used a medical power of... The power of attorney covered necessary financial decisions related to health planning, he cut in. All completely legal and above board. I wouldn't have processed it otherwise. I'm a licensed notary, Walt. I know the law. He said it with such confidence, like he believed it himself. Now, you'll still live here. Nothing changes from your perspective. The only difference is on paper, for legal protection. Tom smiled. If anything, this gives you peace of mind. You can enjoy your retirement without worrying about the state taking your home. And if I don't want to... Walt, please. Tom held up a hand. Let me finish. You're not getting any younger, and these decisions need to be made by people who understand estate law. There it was. Not getting any younger, too old to understand. Let the smart people handle it. I looked at Sarah. She was still staring at her phone, wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Linda. She was crying into a tissue. I looked at Tom, standing in my living room with his briefcase and his papers and his smooth explanations. You'll still live here, Tom said again. Or, you could think about downsizing eventually. Maybe the guest house situation. There ain't no guest house, I said. Tom shrugged. Well, that's something to consider for later. Point is, the property is protected now. That's what matters. He started packing up his papers. I'll leave copies for you to review. We'll finalize the remaining paperwork next week. Just some cleanup documents to make everything official. I ain't signing nothing else. Tom's smile tightened just a bit. Walt, it's already done. This is just administrative follow-through. He looked at Sarah. She stood. They walked to the door together. We'll be in touch, Tom said. And they left. Sarah didn't even hug me goodbye. I sat there listening to Tom's Audi pull away, smooth and quiet through the snow. Linda was still crying. The house felt smaller than it ever had. Tom had walked in, taken over my living room, talked over me like I was a child, and walked out. And nobody had stopped him. Not Sarah, not Linda, not me. I got up, turned off the lights, sat in the darkness listening to the furnace and the wind. The snow kept falling, burying everything deeper. Then a knock at the door, hard and insistent. I didn't move, didn't want to deal with whoever it was. The knock came again. Walt, I know you're in there. It's Hank. Open up. I got to the door, opened it. Hank stood there covered in snow, holding a manila envelope. Got something you need to see, he said. Hank, I appreciate it, but... Walt, let me in. It's cold and I ain't leaving till you look at this. I stepped aside. He came in, snow falling off his coat onto my floor. He set the envelope on the kitchen table. I've been watching, taking pictures. Pictures of what? Of Tom. Every time he came here, every time he thought nobody was looking. He opened the envelope. Hank spread the photos across my kitchen table. 8 of them, different dates, all showing Tom's Audi in my driveway late at night. But he pulled out more, new ones I hadn't seen before. After you left yesterday, I printed the rest. He laid them out methodical, like evidence at a trial. Got 23 total, going back to July. 23 visits. 23 times Tom had snuck over while I was gone. One photo showed Tom getting out of his car, briefcase in hand. Another showed him leaving, folder tucked under his arm. A third, zoomed in with that hunting scope, showed documents through his windshield. I could make out words. Power of attorney, real property transfer. I wrote down everything, Hank said, flipping the photos over. Each one had his neat handwriting. Date, time, temperature, how long Tom stayed. July 18th, 11:47 p.m. Stayed 42 minutes. September 3rd, 10:22 p.m. Stayed 38 minutes. January 22nd, 10:55 p.m. Stayed 51 minutes. Every visit documented like a court record. Why? I asked. Because I wasn't going to stay quiet this time. I looked at him standing there in my kitchen, snow melting off his coat, forming puddles on the floor Linda would fuss about later if she saw them. You've been doing this for 7 months? Since August, after I saw him twice in 1 week. Hank pulled out a chair, sat down heavy. Felt wrong, Walt. Couldn't put my finger on why, but it felt wrong. So I started watching, started documenting. You could have told me. I should have told you. His jaw worked. But I kept thinking maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe I was seeing things that weren't there. He pulled Linda's old coffee cup toward him, wrapped his hands around it even though it was cold. My wife Eileen, she passed 5 years back. You remember. I do. Cancer. Before she died, her brother came around. Said he'd help with medical bills, manage her accounts while she was sick since she couldn't do it herself. Hank's voice went rough. He stole $40,000, forged her signature on withdrawal slips, cleaned out her savings. I sat down across from him. I saw him coming around too much, Hank continued. Being too helpful, always asking about her accounts, her passwords, where she kept her checkbook. Something felt off, but I didn't want to believe family would do that. He looked at me, eyes wet. So I stayed quiet, told myself I was being paranoid. On Hank. By the time I figured it out, he was gone. Money was gone. Eileen died in that hospice bed, never knowing her brother had robbed her blind. He wiped his eyes rough with his sleeve. I had all the proof in the world afterward. Bank records, forged signatures, everything. But it was too late. The furnace kicked on, filled the silence between us. So when I started seeing Tom sneaking around, Hank said, I told myself I wasn't making that mistake twice. Started taking photos, started writing everything down, but I still didn't say nothing, still kept my mouth shut. You're saying something now. Yeah, about 7 months too late. He pushed a business card across the table. This is my buddy, Ed Kowalski, real estate attorney. Been practicing here 30 years. You need to call him, today. Same name Donna had given me. Is he good? He's a straight shooter. He'll look at these photos, look at your documents, and tell you if you got a case. Hank stood, pulled his coat back on. Ed, don't sugarcoat, Walt. If you can win this, he'll tell you how. If you can't, he'll tell you that too. I picked up the card. Simple white card, black letters. Edward Kowalski, attorney at law, a local number. You trust him? With my life. Hank headed for the door, then stopped. Walt, I stayed quiet when Eileen's brother was stealing from her, kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to cause family trouble, and she died broke because of it. He looked at me hard. I ain't staying quiet about this. Tom's a snake, and snakes don't stop till someone stops them. After he left, I sat alone with those photos spread across the table. 23 visits. 23 times Tom had played Linda like a fiddle while I slept or worked or ran errands. Every photo was proof I'd been blind, but also proof I wasn't crazy. Linda appeared in the doorway. What did Hank want? I gathered the photos. Evidence. Evidence of what? I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman I'd loved for 42 years, who'd signed away everything without asking me once. Evidence that I ain't confused, that Tom's exactly what I think he is. Walt, you're being paranoid. 23 times, Linda. He came here 23 times in 7 months. All documented, all photographed. Hank saw every one. Her face went pale. So, when Tom tells Sarah I'm confused, when he tells everyone I don't understand the legal complexity, I got proof. I held up one of the photos. Proof he's been lying to everyone, including you. I don't understand. I know you don't. That's the problem. I grabbed my coat and Ed's card. I'm calling this lawyer, and Linda, whatever Tom told you to say, whatever story he fed you, it's done now. Where are you going? To find out if my house is really gone, or if there's still a fight left. The door closed behind me. Snow was falling harder now, but I didn't care. I had photos, I had a name, and for the first time since that 4 a.m. text, I had something that felt like hope. I called Ed from my truck, sitting in the driveway with the engine running for heat. He picked up on the second ring. Kowalski. Mr. Kowalski, my name's Walt Garrison. Hank Peterson gave me your number. Hank's a good man. What can I do for you? I gave him the shortest version I could. Property transferred, wife's signatures, Tom's LLC, papers filed at the courthouse. Ed was quiet for a moment. You got the documents? Got copies from the county clerk. And Hank's photos? Got those too. Can you meet me at Sal's Diner, 7 tomorrow morning? I can be there at 6:30. Even better, bring everything you got. I didn't sleep much that night. Linda tried talking to me twice, but I had nothing to say. Just lay in the guest room, watching shadows move across the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. My daddy's house. The one thing he'd left me that mattered. At 6:15, I was in my truck driving through pre-dawn darkness. Roads were slick, but passable. The plow crews had been out all night. Sal's Diner sat on Main Street. Been there since 1947. Red vinyl booths, checkered floor, coffee that could strip paint. I'd been eating breakfast there for 30 years. Betty was behind the counter when I walked in. She'd been waitressing at Sal's since before I could remember. One of those people who seems like they've always been there and always will be. Morning, Walt. Early today. Meeting someone. She poured coffee without asking, slid the mug across. Usual? Just coffee, thanks. I took a booth in the back corner, spread out my documents, the manila folder from Donna, Hank's photos, Ed's business card. The diner was mostly empty. Couple of regulars at the counter, retired guys who came in every morning to solve the world's problems over eggs and hash browns. The bell above the door jingled every time someone came in, letting cold air rush through. 7 o'clock sharp, a man walked in, rumpled suit, coffee-stained tie, reading glasses hanging from a chain around his neck. He looked around, spotted me, walked over. Walt? Mr. Kowalski? Ed. He slid into the booth across from me, set a worn leather briefcase on the seat beside him. Thanks for meeting early. Betty appeared with the coffee pot. Morning, Ed. Usual? Yeah, thanks, Betty. He waited till she left, then looked at me over his glasses. Show me what you got. I slid the county clerk folder across first. He opened it, started reading. Didn't skim, actually read every word, lips moving slightly. His eyebrows went up at the power of attorney. He flipped back and forth between it and the quitclaim deed a few times. Huh, he said. What? This power of attorney. It says, Medical decisions only. I know. But it was used to transfer real property. He looked up at me. That's outside the scope. That's fraud. Something in my chest loosened just a bit. So it ain't legal? Oh, it's filed and official looking, but legal? No. Your son-in-law used a limited power of attorney for something it explicitly wasn't authorized to do. Ed pulled out a legal pad, started making notes. That's like using a driver's license to practice medicine. Same concept. Betty brought his breakfast. Eggs over easy, burnt toast, hash browns with onions. Ed thanked her and kept reading while he ate. Who's the notary on this? He asked. Tom, my son-in-law. He's licensed. Ed's jaw tightened. He notarized his own documents? Documents he had a direct financial interest in? That a problem? That's a massive ethics violation. Notaries can't notarize documents they benefit from. It's grounds for license revocation. He made another note. Your son-in-law made some real stupid mistakes here. Donna at the clerk's office said it couldn't be undone without a court order. Donna's right. It's filed, so it's official until a judge says otherwise. Ed pulled out the LLC registration. But we can get that court order. Emergency injunction to freeze the transfer pending fraud investigation. How long would that take? I can draft it today. Judge Patterson's an old friend. He'll review it this afternoon if I ask him to. Ed looked at me straight. Walt, this is winnable. Your son-in-law got sloppy, used the wrong POA, notarized his own stuff, left a paper trail a mile wide. So we can get the house back? We can, but I gotta be honest with you about something first. He set down his fork, wiped his mouth with a napkin, looked uncomfortable. These papers came across my desk last week. Tom brought them to me, wanted me to review them before filing. My stomach dropped. I looked at them for maybe 5 minutes. Ed continued. Saw the notary stamp, saw the signatures, said they looked fine, sent him on his way. He met my eyes. I didn't scrutinize them, didn't ask questions, just rubber stamped them and moved on. So I let this happen. Ed's voice was bitter. I've been practicing law for 30 years, Walt. Used to be good at it, thorough, careful. But lately, he gestured at his coffee-stained tie, his rumpled suit. I've been coasting toward retirement, taking the easy cases, not looking too close at anything. Betty refilled his coffee. We both waited till she moved on. Why you telling me this? I asked. Because you deserve to know, and because I got a reason for taking this case that ain't just professional. He pulled out his wallet, slid an old photo across the table. Black and white, creased and faded. A man in a factory uniform standing in front of a small house. My old man died 20 years ago. Ed's voice went rough. He worked at the GM plant for 40 years, saved everything he could, bought that little house in 1965, paid it off in 82. I looked at the photo. The man looked proud. The house looked modest, but cared for. Year after he retired, some developer came sniffing around, said he wanted to buy the property, turn it into a strip mall. My dad said no. Developer came back with forged signatures on sale documents, filed them at the courthouse before my dad even knew what was happening. Jesus. My dad called me, said he needed a lawyer. I was busy building my practice in Indianapolis, making good money, working 80-hour weeks. Ed's jaw worked. I told him I'd look into it when I had time. Told him not to worry, it would get sorted out. He took the photo back, stared at it. By the time I got around to checking on it, the house was gone. Developer had already demolished it. My dad was living in a VA shelter. Ed's voice cracked. He died there 6 months later. Heart attack. Alone in a cot in a room with 15 other guys. The diner sounds faded away. Just Ed's voice and the weight of that story. I had the law degree, Ed said. I had the knowledge. I could have stopped it, but I was too busy making money to help my own father. He looked at me. I can't fix what happened to him, but I can fix this. Ed, no charge, Walt. We do this right, we do it fast, and we make your son-in-law regret every choice he's made. He pulled out the photos Hank had given me. These surveillance photos are gold. Timestamps, dates, documents visible. Combined with the fraudulent POA use, we got him dead to rights. What do? I file an emergency motion to void the quitclaim, cite fraudulent use of limited power of attorney. Attach these photos as evidence of a pattern of deception. Request immediate injunction preventing any further transfers or sale of the property. And then? Then I contact the DA's office. Notary fraud is a criminal offense. So is elder exploitation. Ed started packing the documents into his briefcase. Your son-in-law is about to have a very bad week. Betty brought the check. Ed pulled out his wallet, but I reached for it first. Let me. Walt, you're working for free. Least I can do is buy you breakfast. He nodded. Let me pay. We were getting up to leave when the bell above the door jingled. Cold air rushed in. I looked up. Tom walked in. He saw us, saw the documents I was gathering, saw Ed's briefcase. That slick smile spread across his face. He started walking over. Walt, didn't expect to see you here. Ed stood up, papers in hand. The diner had gone quiet. A few regulars at the counter turned to watch. Betty paused mid-pour, coffee pot hovering. Tom looked at Ed. And you are? Ed Kowalski, attorney. And Tom's smile tightened just a fraction. Walt, I thought we agreed to handle this as family. You handled it, Tom, I said. Now I'm handling it. Look, I don't know what he's told you. Tom directed this at Ed. But this is an estate planning matter that's already been resolved. There's no need for lawyers to get involved. Ed stayed standing. Sit down, Tom. Excuse me? Sit down, or stand. Don't matter to me. But you're about to hear something you need to hear. Tom crossed his arms, stayed standing. I don't appreciate being ambushed. Ed's voice cut through the diner, loud and clear, meant for everyone. Tom Bridger, you are about to be served with an emergency injunction and a fraud complaint. Tom's face went white. Every head in the diner turned. Donna, the county clerk, was in a booth by the window. She looked over, eyes wide. Reverend Mike was at the counter. He turned around on his stool. Betty stood frozen with the coffee pot. Ed continued, voice steady and professional. You used a medical power of attorney to transfer real property. That's fraud. You notarized documents you had a direct financial interest in. That's professional misconduct. You manipulated your mother-in-law into signing documents she didn't understand. That's elder exploitation. This is slander, Tom started. It's documented. Ed held up the photos. Witness statements, surveillance evidence, county records. You thought nobody was watching. You were wrong. Tom looked at me. You had me followed? No. A friend was watching out for me. There's a difference. Ed pulled papers from his briefcase. Judge Patterson is reviewing my emergency injunction this morning. The quitclaim will be voided by end of day. The DA's office is already reviewing potential criminal charges. Tom's face was red now. You can't. I can. And unless you want to add resisting court orders to the list, you'll meet me at my office at 2 o'clock this afternoon to sign reversal documents. I'll sue you both. Ed smiled. It wasn't friendly. Go ahead, Tom. Discovery will be real interesting. Your gambling debts. The LLC set up as collateral. That loan from your poker buddies. Tom froze. Yeah, Ed said quietly. I'm good at my job. Better than you thought. The diner was dead silent. Everyone watching, everyone hearing. And in the corner booth, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. Sarah, sitting alone with a cup of coffee, still in her coat like she'd just arrived. She'd heard everything. Tom's eyes found Sarah in that corner booth. His face changed, panic mixed with anger. Sarah, what are you... She stood up slow, coffee cup shaking in her hand. What gambling debts? Sarah, not here. Answer me. Her voice was harder than I'd ever heard it. What gambling debts? Tom tried to move toward her, lower his voice. We'll talk about this at home. No. She stepped back. We'll talk about it right here, right now, in front of everyone. Ed spoke up. Your husband used your father's property as collateral for a $180,000 loan. Sarah's cup clattered on the table. What? A predatory lender, Ed continued. Connected to his online poker group, he had 30 days to provide the deed or face, he paused, consequences. You told me this was about protecting Dad from nursing home costs. Sarah's voice was shaking now. You said he was confused, that Mom was trying to help him understand. He is confused, Tom said. This lawyer's just trying to... Stop lying to me. Sarah's yell cut through the diner. Reverend Mike stood up from his stool. Didn't say anything, just stood there, 6'3", of quiet authority. A reminder that the town was watching. Tom saw him, saw everyone watching. Saw his world collapsing in a diner on Main Street. Sarah, let's go outside. You were going to let my father lose his house. Her voice cracked. You were going to let him lose everything so you could pay your gambling debts? It's more complicated than... She slapped him. Hard. The sound cracked through the silence like a gunshot. Don't you dare tell me it's complicated. Tom's hand went to his face, shocked. The diner held its breath. We're done, Sarah said. Pack your things. I'm filing for divorce. Sarah, you can't. I can. And I am. She looked at him like he was a stranger. You made me think my father was losing his mind. You made me choose you over him. You used me. Tom's face twisted. You'll regret this. Ed stepped forward. That sounds like a threat, Tom. Want to make it in front of all these witnesses? Tom looked around. At me, at Ed, at Donna and Reverend Mike, and Betty and the regulars who'd known me for 30 years. He had nothing left. No smooth words. No slick explanations. He turned and walked out. The bell jangled as the door slammed behind him. Through the window, we watched his Audi peel out of the parking lot, tires spinning on slush. Sarah collapsed into the booth, shaking. I slid in across from her. Dad, I'm so sorry. Tears running down her face. I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know. I believe you. He told me you were confused, that you couldn't understand the legal language, that Mom was trying to help, but you were getting upset. She covered her face with her hands. I should have called you first. I should have listened to you. You're listening now. She looked up at me, makeup smeared, eyes red. My little girl, grown up and broken and trying to find her way back. Dad, I have something in my car. Papers Tom made me hide. Ed leaned in. What kind of papers? I don't know. He gave them to me last week. Said they were insurance. Told me not to look at them. To keep them somewhere safe in case he needed them. Where are they? Glove compartment. Ed stood. Show me. We stood in the cold parking lot while Sarah pulled a folder from her car. Her hands were shaking so bad Ed had to take it from her. He opened it. Started reading. His face went hard. What is it? I asked. Loan documents. Ed flipped through pages. We're Riverside Capital Group. They loaned Tom $180,000 on January 10th. The same week Tom filed the deed transfer. Terms state he had 30 days to provide real property as collateral or face collection. Ed's voice was grim. There's an email here from the lender, dated February 5th, says if Tom doesn't deliver the deed by February 15th, they'll proceed with alternative collection methods. Sarah made a sound like she'd been punched. There's more, Ed said. A second document. Tom's plan to list the property for sale once the transfer cleared. He was going to sell it? I asked. House is worth about $320,000, paid off. Minus the loan, Tom would have cleared $140,000. Ed looked at Sarah. He wasn't keeping the house. He was going to sell your inheritance to cover his debts. Sarah's legs gave out. I caught her, helped her lean against the car. He was going to take everything, she whispered. From both of us. Ed pulled out his phone. I'm calling the DA. This is wire fraud, elder exploitation, notary misconduct. Tom's going to face criminal charges unless he cooperates. What do you need from him? I asked. Full reversal, signed and notarized by a different notary, LLC dissolved, property returned to your name, and he surrenders his notary license. Ed's jaw was set. He meets me at my office at 2, or I file everything and he deals with the consequences. Sarah stood up straight, wiped her eyes. He'll sign. You sure? He's a coward, Mr. Kowalski, and cowards fold when they're cornered. She looked at me. Dad, I'm taking Lily and going back to Chicago today. Tom's not welcome in my house anymore. I pulled her into a hug, first real one we'd had in years. I'm proud of you, I said. I should have believed you from the start. You believe me now. That's what matters. We stood there in the cold, my daughter crying into my shoulder, while inside the diner, the whole town bore witness to the Bridger family falling apart, but maybe, just maybe, starting to heal. 3 days later, I stood in Ed's office while Tom signed papers. The office was small, cluttered with legal books and case files stacked on every surface. Ed's desk was buried under documents. The coffee maker in the corner was old enough to vote. Tom looked like hell. Unshaven, rumpled clothes, eyes bloodshot. No more slick smile, no more confidence. Ed had the documents laid out. Sign here, here, and here. Tom's hand shook as he signed. the quitclaim reversal, the LLC dissolution, the notary license surrender. If I sign this, the criminal investigation stops? Tom's voice was hoarse. DA agreed to drop charges if you make full restitution and surrender your license. Ed watched him like a hawk. Sign? Tom signed. Ed called in a different notary, Martha from down the hall, to witness and stamp everything, made copies of every document, filed them electronically while we stood there. It's done, Ed said. Property reverts to Walter Garrison. LLC is dissolved. You're no longer a notary public in the state of Indiana. Tom stood to leave, looked at me. I was trying to help. Get out, I said. He left without another word. Ed handed me a folder. Your deed, restored. Your father's signature from 1982, your name back in place. I opened it, saw my daddy's handwriting, saw my name. Thank you, Ed. Thank Hank, and yourself. He smiled tired. You didn't quit. Outside in the parking lot, Sarah was waiting. She'd stayed in town, wanted to see it finished. Is it done? She asked. It's done. She hugged me. What are you going to do about Mom? I don't know yet. You going to divorce her? Don't know that either. We stood in the March cold. The snow was melting, revealing brown grass and mud underneath. I filed the divorce papers this morning, Sarah said. Tom has 30 days to respond. How's Lily? Confused, asking why Daddy isn't coming home. Sarah's voice cracked. I told her sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, big ones. That's the truth. She got in her car, rolled down the window. I love you, Dad. Love you too, kid. I watched her drive away, back to Chicago, back to rebuild her life without Tom. Then I drove home. Linda was in the kitchen when I walked in. She'd moved all her things to the guest room. We hadn't really talked since the diner confrontation. Is it over? She asked. It's over. House is mine again. She nodded. Didn't smile. Didn't cry. Just nodded. We stood there in awkward silence. I made coffee, she finally said. Thanks. We sat at the kitchen table. Same table where this whole mess had started with her 4 a.m. confession, same worn Formica, same sticky spot from 1994, but everything was different. Walt, I know sorry isn't enough. You're right, it ain't. She wrapped her hands around her mug. Do you want me to leave? Find an apartment? I thought about that. 42 years of marriage. All the good times before Tom. All the quiet mornings and shared dinners and inside jokes nobody else would understand. No, I said, not yet. What do you want? I don't know, time, I guess. We sat in silence, passing butter for toast, like strangers learning each other's habits again. After a while, she said, I'm trying, Walt. I see that. It wasn't forgiveness, wasn't even close. But it wasn't goodbye either. 2 weeks later, early March, I woke to the sound of scraping, looked out the window. Linda was in the driveway with a shovel, clearing the last patch of snow. She'd never done that, not once in 42 years. I made 2 cups of coffee, pulled on my coat, went outside. The morning was cold, but the sun was breaking through clouds. The snow was almost gone, revealing dead grass that would turn green come April. I handed her a cup. She took it, hands cold from the shovel. Thanks, she said. We stood there, breath fogging in the air, not saying much. I'm trying, she said again. I know. We weren't fixed. Maybe we never would be. But we were both still here, still standing in the driveway of my daddy's house, my house, watching the winter end and wondering what came next. The path was clear. Where we walked from here, that was tomorrow's question. But today, the coffee was warm, the sun was rising, and the house was still standing. Some days, that's enough. Late March came gentle. The snow finally gave up, leaving mud and patches of brown grass that would green up in a few weeks. The mornings were still cold, but you could feel spring waiting just around the corner. I kept my routine. Coffee at dawn, watching the world wake up from my kitchen window, the old Chevy in the driveway, reliable as always, Hank's truck passing by some mornings, giving me a wave. Linda still slept in the guest room. We still passed the butter at breakfast like polite strangers. Some mornings we talked about the weather or what was on the news. Other mornings we just sat in quiet. Folks kept asking me if I was going to divorce her. I told them the same thing every time. I don't know yet. Truth is, I still don't. 42 years don't disappear because 7 months went bad. But they don't erase those 7 months either. We're somewhere in between, trying to figure out if there's enough left to build on. Some things I learned through all this: keeping quiet don't mean keeping peace. I spent 40 years thinking if I just stayed silent, didn't make waves, everything would work out. Nearly lost everything because of it. My daddy used to say, a man's worth is measured by what he protects. I protected that house, his house, the only way I knew how, paid it off early, kept it maintained. But I forgot you got to protect it from the inside too, not just the outside. Tom's gone now, moved back to Illinois, last I heard. Sarah's doing okay, raising Lily on her own. She calls me every Sunday, and we talk about real things now. No more surface conversations, no more pretending. Hank stops by for coffee every few weeks. We don't talk about what happened much. Don't need to. He knows what he did for me, and I know I won't forget it. Ed Kowalski retired last month, closed his practice, said this case reminded him why he became a lawyer in the first place. We had a beer at the VFW, and he told me about his daddy one more time. Said helping me gave him something he'd been missing for 20 years. Some wins ain't loud. Some wins are just getting your name back on a piece of paper, getting to wake up in your own house knowing it's really yours. Every morning when I make that coffee, I think about my daddy. About the day he handed me that deed with his rough, calloused hands. Keep it in the family, son. I kept my word. It wasn't easy and it wasn't pretty, but I kept it. Linda appeared at the kitchen door this morning, hesitant. Want more coffee? Yeah, thanks. She poured, set the cup down gentle. Her hand brushed mine for just a second. It's getting warmer, she said. It is. Outside, the sun was breaking through the clouds. The last of the snow was melting, running down the driveway in little streams. The world was thawing. Where Linda and I end up, I honestly don't know. Maybe we'll find our way back. Maybe we won't. But I got my daddy's house. I got my dignity. I got my name on that deed. And I learned something worth knowing. Sometimes the quietest man in the room needs to be the loudest. Sometimes protecting what you love means fighting for it, even when the fight's against your own family. Especially then. The coffee's warm, the sun's rising. And that's enough for today. If you're out there sitting quiet while someone takes what's yours, your respect, your property, your peace, don't wait like I did. Speak up, get help. There are Hanks and Eds in every town, good people waiting to stand with you. Just don't wait till 4 a.m. to find out who they are.